Reserve time. Dire team ban.
It now, and they decide rather than get some other like top tier hero, whatever that may have been, they just want to get a Shadow Fiend. Like the alternative to the Shadow Fiend was like maybe an off laner of some kind. They weren't any like great tier options with Slider and Weaver. They're perhaps preferred picks, both taken away from
Radiant team ban.
I like it. I think it's the right kind of mid to be playing, or right kind of carry to want to have against Slider Weaver, just because he's a bit more immune to the high physical damage. He reminds me of like Terrorblade, where it's like you pick TB against like Slider Lifesteal because he's got huge armor and doesn't just melt.
Thinking now too that I'm wondering if maybe Mineski are thinking about even switching up their playstyle a little bit in response to the Weaver. We saw that they're able to play like kind of a good keep away game last time, Mineski. Possibly this could either be like a more group up and fight style, or they could go for even just like a death ball-y type of strat if you want, even though that doesn't seem to fit their playstyle generally. It leaves them like very open to different ways to play it. Do you expect that there's any like really great way to play against an opening of a Weaver Slardar? It feels like it's kind of tempo-y.
You can play like a 5-man push strat, like get like a Chen, like something I saw Na'Vi do earlier today in their tiebreak match was like Shadow Fiend, Chen, 5-man push, and but a Weaver is pretty useless against that, but it's also a very all-in strat where you're like, we gotta end this game in the first like 25-30 minutes, or we're just like, what's our backup plan? So, that kind of option is there. It's not necessarily something Mineski typically go for. I kind of mentioned at the start of game one during the draft, it's like, well, they're a team that will favor going to the late game a bit more than others. They're even trying to protect their early game by banning out the Drow so they can get to that late game stage. Banning out the ET is another kind of strong early mid game tempo controller. So my speculation is they'll stay away from that like cheesy push strat that we saw earlier today from Na'Vi.
We'll see also what Clutch Gamers wants to do with their particular draft, because they have shown a proclivity to go for fight in the mid game and that type of thing, but they've also shown that they can go other ways as well. And banning out the Sven and the Underlord, to me at least, signals we do not want you to have armor. Maybe a Dazzle here could be a nice little put together as well.
Yeah, they may want to take the Dazzle before Mineski do, just give their minus armor to the enemy team, keep their armor up. That's a bit of a block pick. We'll see if that's something they want. Otherwise, it's like they're more bread and butter. And there we go. It'll be the CM. I think it's just like a personal preference and what your team is good at playing around. I think this is the right approach, where maybe you could look at it from a pure draft perspective, like, oh, maybe Dazzle's a better pick, but from a team comfort point of view, like, they play with the CM so much, like some of their cores are probably like just used to playing with that CM aura as well, and know they can just really win their lane with it. They know how to abuse the fact they've got CM aura. So I think from a Clutch Gamers perspective, this is the better pick.
We'll have to watch and see if Mineski have some answer to it as well. I guess the Slardar already a hero that does sort of benefit from it. Is there any mid in particular that you like that could take advantage of that arcane aura, whether it be somebody who spams out the waves possibly, or we could think, I mean, I think like an Earth Spirit or something was one of the answers, but with Slardar maybe not the greatest.
Majority of the mids heroes that can use CM, I guess. I don't think this necessarily changes your overall drafting philosophy when choosing your mid laner. When you see the CM, I think most mids are heroes that will spam at the lane or have good spell. Even like a hero like Invoker is maybe like not the best CM partner, but even Invoker, maybe mana regen to use more Sunstrikes around the map. Like Invoker often has to ferry himself clarities. As soon as he starts using Sunstrike, you run out of mana and you need those clarities. So CM can perhaps negate that a bit, but I think more like Embers and Jugs for the mid lane. Versing Shadow Fiend, so you're probably looking perhaps maybe like the direction of like an OD type hero or a Sniper, but again, not the best. Like, I don't know, Sniper against Shadow Fiend, while it's a good lane matchup, the CM is going to be like very preoccupied in the safe lane, probably helping out. If you want to run something like a Sniper, you need a good 4-position hero, be it the Slider or something like a Nurse to make that work.
You know, one of the things they did do was run a Medusa with a Weaver earlier on, and it actually was in a draft where they took an Axe as well. And it was all kind of built around to try and keep this Medusa alive. Is that something that could work? Oh man, an Ursa pickup from Mineski.
I mean, the Medusa pick looks a bit more tempting now that the Ursa's come out. This is, Mineski getting that hyper-aggressive safe lane carry pairs this is really good with Rubik and Ogre. The telekinesis enables the Ursa to do a lot more damage. The Bloodlust, same thing. it seems like Mineski have a very good
5
like
seconds
recipe
remaining.
for success with all their drafts that I've seen. Like they always have very clear synergy and a clear idea of what they want to get done between their cores and their support. So you know, how Clutch Gamers respond. They've got 2 melee heroes already in the Axe and Slaughter, which could become food for the Ursa. Both these heroes at least have some control and ways to perhaps kite around an Ursa. They're going to need 4 staffs this game as well, so we won't be able to see them go like into the greedy
Dire
Midas
team
so much.
best.
But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. And there's the Medusa ban. You talked about it.
Yeah.
It's a good hero. The Ursa made it an even better
Radiant
hero,
team pick.
and they instantly banned it out.
Now, well, wondering if maybe that was the answer that Clutch Gamers were hoping for. And now staring down the barrel of an Omni Knight Ursa. That sounds terrifying. God, what? And it could be a tough lane too. So this is just like straight up off lane Omni
10
Knight.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, their draft to me, like I look at this, I'm like, man, their draft's in trouble. Like, what's the
5
answer for the mid
seconds
lane? There's
remaining.
some like okay options, like the OD type heroes. Again, there's no hero that I look at that's like, oh yeah, that's actually
Reserve
counters what Mineski are doing. It'll be a good tempo controller. And Medusa's not tempo controller, but tanky. It doesn't get like crushed by an Ursa. OD could struggle. One telekinesis and OD might die. It does have some save, so if someone gets a teammate gets
10
gone, you can
seconds
astral them.
remaining.
But
Templar
I don't know.
Assassin.
Not sure there's a great option. TA gets picked up. It's like a good lane against the Shadow Fiend, but it's not good at other stages of the game against the Ursa, the Ignite, the Telekinesis, the Guardian. It's all in on physical damage, which to me is not going to really work too well against Guardian Angel.
Yeah, this feels very tough, and like you can go into Diffusal Blade for these heroes, sure, that's all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, it doesn't solve the problem of like Repel and being able to TP out. Maybe you can just burst them through that, and that's the answer, as well as obviously maybe like an AC later for something like a Shadow Fiend. But I do really like Mineski's draft, and Clutch Gamers, they're gonna have to get a lot done early, win these lanes hard, start making plays around the map. Do you feel like Slardar Axe are gonna go together and try and pressure that Ursa? Is that something that you can't even really
10
do?
seconds
No,
remaining.
I think Slaughter may be. He'll be free to roam for sure, but they may make more of a. Axe's blink timing. Said Axe more. I mean, he can kind of leech XP if the lane ever pushes, but play more in the jungle to get more farm. Fly solo, helping out the mid lane against the Shadow Fiend. Perhaps, I mean, roaming wherever he can find kills. Perhaps some early smokes with the CM, like some CM Slaughter smokes to get some kills early on the Shadow Fiend. You need to be aggressive and create space for heroes like Axe to farm and be greedy. Same for the early game of the TA. This is a hero that wants to farm, not fight too much early on.
Well, we are getting ready to move into this game number 2 of the Southeast Asian playoffs. The GLHFs are going to go out as well. And when was the last time you saw a Shadow Fiend without an Arcana? Somebody needs to get this guy an Arcana here. What the heck?
Yeah, what's going on, Bimbo? This is, I mean, he's played it like 4 times in the qualifiers and everything. Viewers out there, you heard it. The man needs some help. He needs an Arcana. He's got, what's this? The arms of the Diabolic Fiend. Like, I like the set though, but
It is pretty nifty. I like it too. But yeah, we'll see how this ends up working out. Mineski versus Clutch. We can also maybe take a quick moment to talk about our second series of the day too. It's going to be Faceless versus TNC. The winner of this match is going to move on to face the winner of that one a little bit later. So a really long day for these players, particularly in the first games.
yeah. Faceless TNC should be really good. I think those 2 teams were like perhaps the 2 favorites coming into the qualifier. Obviously, SEA qualifiers are always super unpredictable, and there's always some like team that comes out of nowhere, which I think with this qualifier was Clutch Gamer, even though perhaps some people had high hopes for them and knew they were an upcoming team. People looked more at maybe some of the more veteran teams, like experienced teams, like WG Unity, now Team Bazaar. I think that's the surprise. Like, where is Bazaar? They're not in the playoffs. They didn't make it. Mineski and Clutch Gamers are here instead, so TNC Faceless should be really good, but at this point, I don't think Faceless can take anything for granted as far as them qualifying for the Kiev Major.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, TNC were one spoiler away by Execration from not making it into the playoffs as well. So,
Yep.
walking into this side, yeah, a lot of upsets all over the place, as you're talking about, just maybe the SEA thing. And TA is going out right now with just a Circlet, Iron Branch. Oh, he's probably going to get some Tankos pulled, I'm sure.
He'll get a Bottle Rush, get the Tankos pulled. Wants to have that on a regen early on to spam Refraction a bit more. Deciding that Refraction, getting the early Refraction spam is going to be better than
30
having the Wraith
seconds
Band.
to battle.
you win the CS battle against Shadow Fiend without a Wraith Band here, so he's not going to invest in a Wraith Band, which is kind of a wasted item for TA because you don't want to go Ring of Aquila. So I like this build a bit more. He even gets the D-Ward, so his CM gives him the D-Ward onto the high ground, pulls him another Tango, and he's going to have that bottle like almost instantly on the first wave.
Yeah, this is great. I mean, already up to 460, and we'll get a little bit more off the back of this. More Tango shared, so Abang being a nice little position one for his position too. You don't always end up seeing that though. Just pull Tango first,
The big thing for here is the Ogres being able to secure Shadow Fiend the early CS, because there is no way Shadow Fiend gets any last hits against TA without some support, and that's Ogre's job. Similarly, the Slatter can mess with that, but it looks like Slatter's heading top, so this TA may have a rough time. The block should favor the SF as well, because the Ogre was blocking it from the very base. So yeah, it looks like SF will be able to get souls just because the Ogre's here, and it's an important thing to note with this mid lane. Otherwise, TA just walks away with it.
Now Armel taking a good amount of harassment, and it hurts. It hurts. It hurts.
Can't even get his bottle money. That's actually a concern when you can't get your bottle up.
Trying to draw aggro. It's not going to happen. Armel going to need to Tango through this, and as well as pop refraction.
Instantly burned, like that's the ignite, the Orb of Venom just burns away that refraction. He just got crushed. This is meant to be like, I mean, 1v1 TA wrecks SF, but all it takes is one Ogre wave presence and the lane goes the other way. SF 5-5 soul. Suddenly, SF just tells his Ogre like, dude, peace out, I've won this lane. I'm going to win this lane just fine.
I'm wondering if maybe this is a bit of a mistake, because like, what is it that Slardar has really done up here as opposed to what it could have happened in the mid lane, helping out his TA, but Fly Solo now maybe in trouble as well. They're gonna not have another lift for a while, but the Ignite is still doing a decent chunk as well. The ground pound does not come out from Miracle. So they are getting a little bit aggressive up here. This is a battle lane.
I think it's a huge mistake. Not having Slatter mid at level 1 to me is like a necessity. It is the deciding factor for SF's game, like, oh no, his entire game, but for his early game, and whether he can win his lane or have to just go jungle and play catch up is that first creep wave. And the fact Slatter's not there for the first creep wave, and I mean, Ursa's on 3 CS. That's the trade-off. They've managed to slow down Ursa's early game CSing, but I think SF is the much better hero to shut down. So I'm not a fan of them not sending Slatter mid at level 1, but we'll see how they adjust it. The end result is TA will at least stabilize the lane. Now that it's a 1v1, TA will still be able to farm here. Just that SF is not going to get beat in this one matchup.
Yeah, more of a lost opportunity than a fail, like, you know, bad thing happening for the TA, I guess, is in a way. But yeah, they're going to farm up as well, pulling out and taking down a large creep, and experience always a necessity for them. So we'll see if they can make anything happen up top here. What do you think about a tri-lane versus tri-lane scenario? Who ends up winning out in this instance?
See, so CM's already got the aura up, and it does mean they won't have the Nova, but I think with aura they're pretty okay with this one. Max and Omni kind of fighting things up here, going towards the bounty room, but they're going to TP in. They're actually going for this kill. Ogre's presence is likely going to be enough. Next purification should be a kill.
Alhana, good call there. That might give him enough range to get into the shrine, but unfortunately, it has already been used. They try and bring in the Slardar. They only find the crush onto RR, so weren't able to save that axe, and yeah, a big kill there for him.
Jules is MVPing this early game from securing that level 1 SF mid lane to well, not really securing much at top, but he went top to make sure that the Ursa had a slightly better time, and now finding that kill with that TP in his early game as an Ogre has been phenomenal.
Oh my god, and now the CM maybe in some trouble as well. They get the Frostbite, that's keeping them alive for the moment, trying to get out of there, but already the CM is dead, and they're not going to break through the salve either of Miracle, so the Bear Man is going to keep on just hitting away. And now you've also got Jules heading back towards mid to secure a bit more farm for the SF. This early game is just fantastic for Mineski.
Well, Omni Knight getting that first blood, he was losing a lane to an Axe. Like, that's just going to happen. Axe wins that 1v1 matchup, but he got first blood, giving him a big chunk of gold, which gets him Arcane Boost. Suddenly, he can actually hold his own 1v1 because he has constant mana to spam in this lane with Arcane Boots and level 5, so like DBC level 3 Purification. This Axe can't just bully the Omni Knight out of the lane anymore. Suddenly, this 1v1 matchup you were meant to win isn't being won. The 1v1 at mid you were meant to win isn't being won. You laned it such that you could have 2 favorable 1v1 matchups, and neither of those lanes is winning. That's the beauty of what Jules has done on this Ogre. He has managed to tip the scales of 2 bad 1v1 matchups into his team's favor.
Radiant's middle tower
Ogre
is under attack.
Magi again.
What a hero!
at least as of yesterday, 70% win rate. Mineski have not lost with it on their team so far. I don't know if it's just teams like forgetting how to play against it, or if it's just what he brings to the table.
He's played very well. He caught them a bit by surprise, perhaps, with that TP down bottom. But I think the mid stuff wasn't anything crazy or unexpected, so that was perhaps where you kind of can fault Clutch Gamers a bit for not having being more ready for the Ogre's presence at mid. My soul isn't deep on this slider. I don't know what he's trying to. This is one of those games where you're the 4-position slider and you're early, like all your lanes are falling apart, and you're like, shit, what do I do now? Like, I go jungle. You don't have an Iron Talon, so you can't just go jungle. You've also got an Axe and a TA. They want to jungle, so your role as a slider is kind of create space. But how do you create space when you're losing all 3 lanes? And
I mean, no TPs really to come in to try and help turn this either. They're going to go for a crush possibly, but is this really what you need to be doing right now? They ended up going for the Sakuchi forward. They might end up losing the Weaver, and now possibly more. Miracle is going to drop, but it comes at the cost of the Weaver, and I mean, I don't even know. I'm not sure if it's worth it.
Not really worth it. It's like they had to do something is the thing, and they were hoping they could get that kill without losing Weaver. The Sentry and Miracle just holding his ground, fighting, meant that they could get the return kill. So in their head, they were like, all right, we'll definitely get this kill, and hopefully we get away with it. But it took a 3-man, hold our ground, fight with the Sentry Ward to kill the Weaver, and Mineski made the right call to react to the aggression. So if Mineski didn't make the right call there, you get the kill without a casualty, but I think it's the kind of play, like, you're losing the lanes this bad, you have to go for that kind of a move.
Under attack.
God, this mid lane, 45 CS, 17 denies, SF. So just walking away with it.
Yeah, and I mean, Armel in the meantime, he's got a ward up here on his cliff and drop down so low. He can go and try and like take down these Ancients or just heal back up from the shrine and go to the lane, but it's never going to be easy. And I mean, he's dropping down that low with just the Shadow Fiend in the lane, so if they make any type of rotation at all, there's a good chance that this TA just dies, and they've been bringing detections to fights already because they've got the Weaver there. This is rough.
The smoke from Slider, but not entirely sure where he's headed or what he thinks he can do. Top lane looks to be the most exposed. The lone Ursa for now. Uger is roaming around bottom. Rubik's not in the lane, so this isn't exposed Ursa, but they don't know how exposed Ursa is. They don't see either of these two supports, so it's one of those things where even though Miracle's alone, because the enemy don't know he's alone, they're assuming the support's perhaps camping behind him, and as a result, they're going mid for the Slider instead, and I don't know if they can get this kill. Ogre's here, TP's coming.
Yeah, they're already on top of him. There's the DD rune. Can they get the lift back by Ninja Boogie? It doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Got that lift. That was a likely dead TA. That would have been a big disaster for Clutch Gamers, but TA backs off at just the right time to not get caught, and Mineski going to go for a smoke of their own. They TP mid. They're like, well, we may as well use the fact we're in this area to smoke a wrap around mid or even set up bottom lane. They know Omni Knight can pressure the tower. He can just kind of skip waves with Purification, and even just getting wards deep in the enemy jungle at this stage of the game is very advantageous for Mineski.
It definitely feels like right now, Clutch Gamers realizing they're not going to be able to do much. They're just trying to farm up on their heroes. You can see Axe, he has enough gold for the Vanguard right now, but actually does not have it yet. And Hana's going to be pulled back in. Isn't able to get the call. Maybe with the TP support in, they can do something, but he is still dropping oh so low, and they pop Guardian Angel looking for the dunk. It's not there, and the crush onto 3, but there is no follow-up here. Oh, that would have been a big one if they could have turned it.
Speaking of clutchness, that was a clutch Guardian Angel from Omni. If he doesn't use that, he takes the tower hit and perhaps gets low enough to the Culling Blade threshold, but the Guardian Angel used meant that he wasn't taking further damage. I was like, okay, Guardian Angel, sure, and then like you see how close he was to dying to the axe, and it makes total sense. Very, very close stuff, and a big kill before Axe picks up. Well, I mean, looks like he's going to go back for the blink now. I think his team's probably telling him, like, guys, we're getting owned in all 3 lanes. We need someone to like create some space with a smoke around the mid game, and that's going to be the Axe. He's going to have to go for that blink.
Oh my God, CM almost drops there, very low. I mean, she's been farming fairly well, has a level 6 at a pretty fast clip, in fact. So possibly the CM, if it's so hard to get into position though, and she could just get eliminated anyways.
I mean, Freezing Field, it's not something you could ever really rely on for damage. Every now and then you'll see that insane, like 10-second long, full duration Freezing Field, but more often than not, CM will just melt die very fast, or there'll be a Fire Blast or a Telekinesis save to cancel it. And then there's stuff like Repel, which can theoretically just block all the damage. Holy crap, Omni has a minus already, 9 minutes in.
Yeah, he picked that up.
What the heck is going on here? His game has been insanely good.
Mineski are doing it. They
are right now, yeah.
I think that this is a team that not a ton of people had high expectations for either. Like, I think everybody expected, all right, Mineski will probably make it in the playoffs, but they're looking like potentially the second best team in C right now, behind Faceless, and proving it against Clutch Gamers here. We'll see if they can continue up the pressure. But certainly with this draft, they're in a good position to snowball. If you're Clutch right now, though, is it just like buy whatever time you can for this Axe and get that Blink Dagger online?
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't look like he needs too much more. Get Axe's Blink and then go for some smoke moves. Get TA involved as soon as she finishes an item, whether that's going to be the... It looks like for now she's queued up Deso, but there's even some value in getting the Blink first just because it pairs well with the Axe's Blink. But until Slider has a Blink, it's maybe just not that great. So it looks like TA will go for the Deso first. Won't have that mobility, but will have the ability to farm and perhaps team up with the Axe if she can get in close. Yeah, get the Blink, smoke up, get some kills. Like that's kind of what Clutch Gamers have to do at this point. Too fancy about it, and they've just got to find a way to shut down someone from farming. Ursa is call that struggling, but
Top
that's going to
lane,
quickly change.
they take down Abeng, they steal Sakuchi as well on the Rubik. So a great spell steal, a great quick kill, and maybe even some more damage. I don't need to push the tower.
They're also the one core that's struggling to get farm, still has only died once and finds a kill on an enemy Weaver, so while Ursa doesn't necessarily have a whole lot of items to back him up, he's still able to dish out a huge amount of damage just with a telekinesis and a bloodlust, so I think Miracle's happy that knowing that he can still do his job to decent capabilities, and once he gets like a Helm the Dominator creep, he can maybe secure his team Roshan. He just needs a few more points in the Fury swipe, so we can still see an early Rosh offer this advantage that Mineski have, despite just not being quite as good.
Well, Weaver has moved down towards the bottom lane against the Omni Knight. You have Axe, who does have his Blink Dagger done. They push out the wave. Maybe they can make something happen with the smoke that's just brought out from CM.
Is here, Invis.
Oh god. Oh, Abeng! Oh, goes for the time lapse, okay.
Trying to place it.
The Shadow
like,
Blade
where
is
is this
worn
Weaver?
off now, though. 1 raise, 2 raise, not going to be able to kill him off, though. So that Shadow Blade initiation not going as well as they could have happened.
I mean, didn't know who was Invis, but luckily for him, he never stood still long enough for the SF to get a Requiem kill. That would have been... I mean, that would just make things even worse for what is already a pretty bad early game for him, but... Abeng nonetheless gets harassed out of this bottom lane. Well, he's not out of the lane, but he's sticking around, but he's very low, which makes it hard to defend with.
Alright, well, they spot out the CM as well as the Axe, and that is the Blink reveal, unfortunately. Just really good positioning by Mineski. They stick the Ogre on the high ground, know that a smoke ink could come, and now they don't have to worry. They can even turn back into this
The
if
Shadow
they want.
Blade in.
Alright, looking. Can he find it? Oh, Hana! They're going to be completely exposed here. They break the Blink Dagger. There's going to be the Frostbite onto 1. The right click's coming through. Freezing Field is pretty decent, but it's not going to be able to be enough, and they find a kill. Yeah, Repel. Just too much. Too dead.
Great execution. I mean, nothing fancy about it. Just have the tanky SF in the front. He's got the Omni Knight to back him up. He's got the Ogre to back him up. He goes in. CM tries to Frostbite ulti him. You just repel him. He takes no damage, and everything's good and gravy. And TA's just not ready to fight. TA can try and split push and perhaps go for just like a farming efficiency game with this Desolate, but until there's like a chain blink on both the TA and the Axe, they can't really easily burst down these heroes.
And I'm thinking right now, like, how different this game would feel if Clutch Gamers had a Medusa instead of a TA. That last ban during the draft feeling like really hurting right now, because you would probably be fine with the Medusa just continuing to farm away and maybe even being able to spam out the waves, but with the TA, it's just they feel this need to get stuff done, and it's not happening.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point. Like, if it was Medusa, you don't mind trading farm for a tower or two, but TA is not going to scale into the late game. This is not a hero you want to play. Like, at this point, Mineski's taking towers, they're going to maybe even secure themselves Roche with the better late game draft. And that to me is scary. And on top of that, I think just the early game falling apart as it did meant this TA is going to be a lot more ineffective than she was perhaps hoping to be. Still needs a Blink Dagger, and Mineski's taking towers while defending them. Like, took bottom tier 1, then they TP mid to defend that. They take the enemy tier 1 mid, then they TP top to defend that. And now they're going to take this top tier 1 tower. So we're yet to see tower from Clutch Gamers, or it looks like Armel might be able to sneak into this mid tier 1. He is pinging it out though, and I think that's something Mineski will try and respond to.
mean, they got the Satyr Tormentor there just
Radiant's
harassing him
top
away
tower
as
is
well.
under
And
attack.
movement in from the Shadow-Bladed SF. Does he spot out Armal? But maybe he can make something happen.
It could do not enough to perhaps bring down the TA, but could do some okay damage. But it looks like more than anything, they just want to defend that T1 mid. So they recognize that top is safe to push while defending mid with just a two-man SF Ogre duo. So take objectives, they defend their own. Bottom lane, though, they haven't defended just yet, but here we go again. They TP in. They're so far ahead that they can take all the objectives they want while defending every single T1 tower on the map. It's very infrequent that you see teams able to take this many Tier 1s while defending their Tier 1s. That's exactly what Mineski have managed to do. Requiem mid.
Armal ends up breaking through the refraction. Good bit of damage. Can he get another raise? He's just going to walk back. There it is. The kill.
Okay, top lane meanwhile.
All over him. Are they going to be able to get this kill as well? Miracle? All right. So they find something. Blink is pretty good. They able to take down that Ursa finally.
Kind of kill they needed to get at this point. Just look like Mineski is still kind of okay with where things are. I mean, they lost their third, like, it's their quote-unquote one-position player. It's their carry role, but it's also, as far as net worth goes, it's their least farm core hero. So if there's anyone who's going to die at this point, I think they'd rather the Ursa die than the SF or the Omni Knight because of how much gold they give. Even experience-wise, Ursa's lower level than the other two, so that's probably the core you're happiest to see go down. And it's also the core that isn't needed to push. It's the Omni Knight and the SF who are actually more important for pushing and taking objectives. The heals, the sustain, and the SF for the damage. They're the heroes you want to actually be able to push with. So even with Ursa dead, they push up to this tier 2.
All right, there's the call. They still have Mech. They still have Purification. They still have Repel. They still have Guardian Angel. They get them all off now. Turning to fight. Hana in some trouble. It's going to drop. They've got the CM ulti, but there's a whole heck of a lot of people chasing her down as well. The Fire Blast, the Ignite, one right click as well comes in from SF, and that is a tier 2 down.
Could have Guardian maybe a second sooner because SF got a bit low, but even so, it didn't really matter. I think he had the mech anyway, so he was holding. He was almost trying to bait them in by using some of his spells a bit slower than you'd expect. Top lane again, they take towers, they defend towers. Arbing's trying to sneak this one and just backdoor it, knowing that it's just an Omni Knight, but you also have to be wary that SF could rotate in, but SF has gone for Roche, and that's something Clutch Gamers Society cannot have.
Oh, Crush. Is it going to be enough? They do kill off Ninja Boogie. Okay, a decent start, but they also lost the Slardar in about 0.8 of a second. And now Roshan's soon to fall as well. Can they hold on to this somehow? Like, they've got freezing till 40. It's tough.
It's very, very tough. Ursa's just looking to finish this off. Oh, Cole catches.
Maybe this could be enough. They're on top of Miracle, but they get the lift and they don't hit the jump. Ursa's going to go down. They end up snatching the Aegis. All right, Abang is out of there now. Hana is going to fall, and it looks like they're going to lose the Aegis on that Weaver.
Sentry.
But yeah, they should have him caught now, and Paul comes out. Abang gone.
Miracle didn't. He finished off Roche after getting healed up there, and gave the opportunity to steal the Roche. I think he knew they'd won the fight regardless, so he just wanted to get Roche and take the Aegis. Could have probably killed the heroes first and then gone back for Roche because it was his Fury Swipes damage that finished off. But either way, very dominant team fight from Mineski, easily won. Handily puts themselves in a position to take a few more objectives. Even without an Aegis in their hands, they're just so far ahead. They've got to complete a full Grease now, which is great because it gives that HP and armor aura when people get low, which against a team that is pure physical damage is going to be fantastic. So Somni is going to offer a lot right now.
Pretty nuts how far ahead they've been able to go. And again, a draft, I feel like it's sort of the thing about Clutch Gamers is they've been playing incredibly well, but it's also flying under the radar. Now that teams have had a little bit of time to recognize what they're doing, they come up with an answer. See if...
I'm not sure what they can get. I mean, I think it's desperation. They know there's no Aegis. They want to try and catch the back lines. Ideally, burst down Omni Knight, I want to say. Easier said than done. This Omni is fairly tanky, has a lift, has a Ogre maybe to help him out too. And Miracle position, catches the smoke.
Rush onto one. They've got a good jump in there as well, but is it going to be enough? CM ulti comes down. Ursa stops that mighty quickly, and Hana is soon to fall as well. 3 dead, and desperation definitely the name of that smoke.
Got the blink call onto the Omni Knight, but the follow-up damage was just too far away. TA couldn't dish out her damage. I don't think she even blinked on top of the Omni Knight, so it felt like bit of a disconnect there between the rest of the team, and even so, like the Omni was just tanky enough, he was going to survive it. Realistically, it's GG at this point. They'll likely play it out, and barring some obscene mistakes from Mineski, this game should be in the bag. But I mean, that's the nature of these qualifiers. Things I say it's kind of it should be GG, but it isn't, because you know it's these tense situations. Clutch gamers still doing what they can to stall things out. You've got TA up top, creep skipping the wave. You could theoretically start trying to just backdoor, take some cheap towers, get some money. And even though Mineski have an early rack and a big advantage, you never know what can happen in a game of Dota.
Yeah, never give up, never surrender. That's the way to play it. Got to do it that way. But yeah, Solar Crest on Ogre, this game's probably done. We gotta be real about it.
Absolutely. I mean, anyone who gets gone on you Solar Crest, and how is TA or Weaver even really killing those heroes? I mean, this Weaver's got 0 in the way of I mean, he has the helm of the Dominator, which is good when you're ahead, and it's good when it's 9 minutes in. It's not good when it's 19 minutes in. Right?
They will do their bestest. I mean, and again, they do have like the nice synergy there if they manage to find somebody without the Solar Crest on them or something. They have damage, the bugs, they've got, you know, Meld Strike, all of this minus armor built into it.
The plan doesn't change. It's blink, call the Omni, and hope you kill him. That was the plan last fight. It didn't work. I think the plan is still the same. I'm not sure how you change the plan such that it worked. I think Slada didn't get the amp damage off was the big thing. If Slada gets the follow-up, you need a crush as the call ends, so you chain your stuns perfectly, and amp as well to boost up TA's damage. But again, there's just like so many things that have to go perfectly right. And I think that Omni with 1700 HP, Guardian Greaves, and a Solar Crest doesn't even die. If everything goes right, he probably still lose. Good luck, Clutch gamers.
See if they can somehow pull it back from the clutches of defeat. That's not necessarily the way you want to start it, as Hana is going to take a ton of damage. The Silver Edge as well, breaking the spins from Hana, even if they do manage to find a first initiation. And oh, the Solar Crest, Shadow Fiend is just up there, able to walk on the high ground, even from below ground. But the call trying to pull it. Lifts, crush, and Mineski looking to finish this one off in style. Are they going to even end up losing the Ursa Repel there as well to keep them alive? They haven't used anything really out of this Omni Knights kit at this point. And
held the Guardian Angel. That's when you know you're crushing the team fight. Next Blink Crush, you've still got it for if someone gets in danger to a Blink Crush, TA Blink in, you've still got that tool.
Alright, they jump there onto the TA, bringing her down as well. No Shrine this time. Floy Solo is going to fall, and it looks like the melee barracks as well. And Clutch Gamers going to drop down most likely in this one. Barring a miracle, you gotta give them credit for sticking around, if nothing else.
It's the second lane. They get the full lane up top, but they got the melee racks in, and they can take another fight if they really want to. It's not like a scenario where it's like, oh, they took racks, but we may get kills on the retreat. No, you don't want to chase Mineski there. They'll let the racks go, they'll play it out still, but again, it's not like Clutch Gamers have any kind of a late game to fall back on. Their lineup is very one-dimensional in that it's all in on single target physical damage for the most part, and that's exactly what Mineski have kind of drafted to be. The Omni Knight pick, and Guardian Angel, and also just the Greaves, the Aghanim Scepter later on, the SF pick was picked up against the physical damage. They've drafted to beat single target physical damage, so late game is no sweat for Mineski.
See if they're sticking around just for the meme at this point, with one kill away. But it's looking like maybe a wraparound. Well, Abang, they're pushing the top lane. Power's starting to go down. It is a 20,000 net worth lead, 15,000 experience. A well-executed draft.
Still the Satyr. It goes in to try be annoying and purge off some spells, and she's like, sweet, I'll just take this away from you. Miracle that for himself.
On Frostbite as well. A very frustrating way to make this game work. And I mean, they've got Slarder over here. He's got Invis Rune, but they also...
What's the plan? Yeah, I don't know. Find the Omni. He's found the Omni. He's like probably telling his team, like, guys, I got the Omni. What do we do now?
Can do it.
Oh, he's been spotted.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Oh, Blink. Okay, he's out. Didn't get caught by the Ignite, but... They're even like pinging out where he's going to be. Like, all right, this Slider's trying to jump us, but they don't have any.
Shadow Fiend Deso.
Yeah, and just end the game faster.
Yeah, why not? All right, they stole the Purge Creep. Call there now as well. Down onto the Well, Shadow Fiend, they didn't have getting the Guardian Angels on him. The Guardian Greaves keeping him alive as well for the moment, and now Ursa is in there. Miracle possibly gonna drop. He ends up falling. So they take down the Ursa. Okay, it's a start, the big call as well, but they're still so hard to kill off. They take down Ninja Boogie. Hana as well. Are they going to be able to finish him off? They go for the Requiem Souls. It is going to come out now, and the time lapse trying to get alive. Bang very low. Another crush. This is about as best of a fight as you could possibly have. The Death Requiem as well. They find a triple kill for Armel. What? Mineski, come on now.
That's why you stick around in the game. You hope for that overextension. You hope you get that good initiation, and SF a bit too far forward gets really low. Even though he initially survives, it's Miracle who jumps in, worried that SF's in trouble, so he's like, all right, I gotta help out my buddy, and save your buddy syndrome ends up getting all 5 killed, and I think I know what you're laughing at. That gold change. Whew.
That is 8,600 gold swing, the majority of it going to a TA who has queued up a Maelstrom at this point. They didn't end up giving the kills away for the meme, but they might have done it themselves. My goodness. What a freaking play. Clutch Gamers, does it change the complexion of this game? Does it change the status quo?
I mean, honestly, not really. It does if it happens again and again. Once more, and I think Mineski start getting rattled a bit, 2 or 3 times more in the game. You know, I wouldn't say it's even at that point, but it's a very much more winnable situation. This game is still, I mean, it's not lost. They're still in the game. They just won a big team fight, cleared out all 5. Don't get me wrong. There still is a chance of the rating side, but I wouldn't call this like a winnable game in the sense like they've got like a reasonable chance. They're still very reliant on Mineski making mistakes, overextending, but the nature of these 10 Valve qualifiers is that you're put in a position where you're under pressure, and those mistakes, you're more prone to making those mistakes. But next Roshan's going to be the big test. Mineski will be pushing high ground with an Aegis, and I think that there, I mean, the Deso to try and end the game faster for SF kind of backfires a bit. He was very glass cannony, does a lot of right-click damage, but doesn't stay alive quite as well as he'd hoped for. A more stat-heavy build like a Manta, or even a Butterfly first could have maybe been a bit better, but either way, I think Mineski's still very confident. Probably just like, whoops guys, that was a bit of a mistake, but now we've got Ags, now we've got their B-Fly or an Aegis coming soon. They're going to have some new sweet items to go push mid with in like 3 or 4 minutes time. They're in no rush to this game.
Yeah, the OD, or the Omni Ags is kind of an interesting one too, because I don't think it's to the same level as the Shadow Fiend, just like Deso, let's get an item that ends the game now, but it is also like, you know, maybe another, I don't know what would have been better. Maybe like a Lotus Orb or something could have helped to save it alive more. Maybe you can just stay out and not get the first one shaded on a global presence.
Yeah, it's definitely nice to have if the game was going to drag, but yeah, they were kind of like in a position where it's like, all right, let's win now. So having pieces of the Ags, and even the Ags doesn't make necessarily the biggest difference. Does give you an extra 2 seconds duration, which is pretty, I mean, considering it's all physical damage, the duration aspect does matter, and right now, are there any purge creeps around? It doesn't look like 9 seconds. I don't think there's any purge creep up, although Weaver likely to be looking for one. Oh, he's camped his creep in the. He's using it to try and. I think they know like we got to stop Roche from happening again. Mineski took what 4 racks, and that was without him. Give him an Aegis, and chances are you'll lose that 5th one. And Hana.
Oh God. Blinking from bad doors.
Yeah, I was kind of looking at him. And I feel like this is his Blade Mail is actually a pretty important item timing, just because. That's where you can punish the SF Deso. If you blink call him with Blade Mail on, he's just hitting himself, doing damage to himself with a Blade Mail. But Axe without a Blade Mail is not all that scary for his blink initiation. So Axe is playing a bit greedy, trying to farm up his Blade Mail, and kind of gets punished there. And Mineski says, forget Roche, we just killed one of the. I mean, you take away one hero and suddenly pushing high ground gets a whole hell of a lot easier.
Well, the buyback comes from Axe. They know that they are going to need him here to stop this.
Guess what? They can go Roche now.
Mineski a little bit gun shy about going up high ground. They just want to secure that for themselves. The blink forward, the spot out that's there. It does look like Clutch Gamers are actually moving forward to contest. They know they have to.
Yeah, they kind of do. Axe's Blade Mail nowhere near, so they're not even going to have that item for the next fight. So I think they just say, look, Roche or bust. Are they Axe? I mean, I don't like. This is the kind of ballsy play you sometimes have to go for when you're down 4 lanes of racks at 20 minutes. They're taking Roche for themselves.
For it. Ursa in there on top of it. Who's got the faster fingers, though? They end up going in for the call. They've caught now onto the Shadow Fiend, and, well, that is going to end up being the Aegis for the Ursa. Guardian Angel comes out. Time to run away. Clutch Gamers in trouble. They pull back Armel. They're also able to kill off, too, with the Shadow Fiend on the south side of the fight. You can see off to the side, and it does look like with that, Maybe, just maybe, Clutch Gamers are going to get out of this. Armel's actually stuck in the trees right now.
Made a nice little force stuff to get out of the river, but yeah, he's still in a bit of trouble. He'll blink himself out in a sec. And, will be alive for the high ground defense, but yeah, with Aegis in hand, with... And it's not really even about the Aegis at this point, just having those heroes dead more than anything. And TA, uh-oh.
Yeah. We have a buyback on the TA. There is still no Slardar for 7 seconds. They're going to use the glyph for this, holding on to the best of their abilities. The jump forward, the call onto Miracle, okay, they get the dunk. That's Aegis gone, but now they're mega creep. And Mineski, a good call again with the crush. They burn through Ninja Boogie. But it feels like it might kind of be a little bit fruitless. Jules going to go down as well. They've got good chase. Gonna call it right there.
I'll get some supports, you know, but it's mega creeps. Their lineup doesn't really defend mega creeps. I mean, I don't mean to be a bit of a Debbie Downer here, but yeah, it's this game. I don't know if it's going places for Clutch Gamers, but we're gonna be a bit realistic about this one. But no, I mean, I think Clutch Gamers have shown some good resilience in their high ground defense, but realistically, it's such a big lead from Mineski. They did such a good job winning the early game with the Ogre, winning 2 1v1 matchups that they were at a disadvantage in just because of the Ogre's movement around the map. And with Mega Creeps, it should be the nail in the coffin at this point. Although, again, Clutch Gamers, Valve Qualifier, they'll play this one out. Any other tournament, non-Valve tournament or online match, they'll be GGing right now, but they want to make sure that Mineski have to fully earn and work for that win.
Absolutely. There ain't no layups around here. That's the phrase, I think, as it goes. And I guess that in some ways they've built into Maelstorms to try and deal with the lack of wave push that they've got. TA can sort of make it happen. So they're holding on for the moment. And if there was ever a way where they could start pushing down a lane, the TA does take towers incredibly quickly, and Weaver can too with a good amount of farm. But it just feels like it's going to be so long. Like they would have to push it to like 70 minutes holding mega creeps.
Yep. The only way they win this game is, yeah, it's like 50, 60, 70 minutes. Like it has to go super long. They're still super underfarmed. Like they need to get items. The only way they get items is the enemy pushing into them and dying a few times. So they're just going to sit back, wait for Mineski to push. If Mineski really want to slow roll it, they'll just wait for another Roche. Right now, Radiant side's not getting that. Even though lanes are pushing in, these mega creeps don't give all that much gold. And Mineski can just take advantage of having the jungle if they want to play the farm. Again, I think Mineski are far enough ahead, they don't do that. They've got all the items to fight with. Seth.
So, going out, Frostbite, okay. Hana is there for a call if he wants to go in, able to find it now onto 2, the Blade Mail as well. A lot of damage there on it. Oh, they just barely get the Guardian Angel off, and now Armel in some trouble. Yeah, they weren't quite able to finish that one off. It would have been a big kill if they could have started off with the Shadow Fiend, but Armel very much in a corner at this point, is going to die. Just barely they bring down the Shadow Fiend, but GG is going to be called in. Quick disconnects as well. Clutch Gamers drop, but Mineski are going to move on to the finals, and a shot at, actually a spot at Kiev as well.
I feel like that's like the classic Mineski playing well game right there. Win the lanes, have that Jules roaming support, be very active in the early game, and then have some explosive performance from